Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. It was a little rainy day today in paradise, but I have some breaking news for you coming out of the Caribbean and Europe, my friends. The European Union has moved one step closer to end visa-free travel to several Caribbean island nations, including Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Grenada, St. Lucia, and Dominica. These Caribbean island nations provide citizenship by investment program, and one of the benefits to selling citizenship to wealthy people around the world is that they offer visa-free travel to Europe, and that has been one of the major selling points. But the European Union has met with Caribbean leaders about over a year ago, and they demand that they made changes to their citizenship by investment program. However, these changes were made, and just when you thought everything was going right, well, the European Union several days ago met in Parliament and passed a legislation to abolish visa-free travel to these Caribbean islands: Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Grenada, Dominica, and St. Lucia. My friends, this is serious, because if the final stages are passed in Parliament and the European Union follow through with what they're doing right now, which they're doing it bit by bit, if they follow through, then visa-free access to the Caribbean island nations that I mentioned will be abolished. My friends, let me just read for you this article that I put together, coming from the European Union. Let me see here. The European Union to cut visa-free travel for Caribbean islands. The European Parliament Committee on Civil Liberties, Justice and Home Affairs has recently approved amendments to the European Union's visa regulations, potentially affecting visa-free access for certain Caribbean nations operating citizenship by investment (CBI) programs. This decision passed with a 41-10 vote. That's a massive majority on the 19th of March 2025. Specifically targets countries such as Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia. The EU has expressed concerns that these citizenship by investment programs may pose security risk by allowing individuals to obtain citizenship and consequently visa-free EU access without substantial connections to the issuing country. The European Parliament report emphasized that while the EU respects the sovereignty of nations in determining naturalization procedures, visa-free travel should not serve as an incentive for investment-based citizenship. The proposed amendments introduce grounds for suspending visa exemptions, including, my friends, I will name the bullet points, including an increase in serious criminal offenses linked to nations of CBI countries, a deterioration of the EU external relations with these countries, a significant rise in third country nationals using CBI passports to irregularly enter EU member states. So the EU is saying the amendment that was passed, they put this in place. These are reasons for abolishing the citizenship by investment program. They're saying if they suspect serious criminal offenses linked to nationals of the citizenship by investment countries, they're saying a deterioration if these countries, these Caribbean nations that offer citizenship by investment, if there is a deterioration in EU external relations with these countries, the Caribbean countries, if the EU and the Caribbean countries fall out, then they can revoke visa-free access. And they're saying if there's a significant rise in third country nationals using the citizenship by investment passport to irregularly enter the EU member states. So the European Union they put this in place now in their regulation that they passed the other day. So tomorrow morning they can get up and say, look, there has been a significant rise in third country nationals using the citizenship by investment program. Let's say Antigua and Barbuda sells 10,000 passports in a month or 2 months, and a lot of them started to visit Europe. Then they can say, wow, there has been a significant increase in nationals using the CBI passports to enter our member states. This is grounds to revoking visa-free access. While this development signifies a step towards potential policy changes, it's important to note that the amendments must undergo further legislative processes before any implementation. Caribbean nations with CBI programs may need to enhance their due diligence and security measures to align with EU standards and mitigate the risk of losing visa-free privileges. The situation remains dynamic, and affected countries are likely to engage in diplomatic discussions with EU authorities to address these concerns and preserve favorable travel arrangements for their citizens. For a detailed discussion on this topic, you can go to the EU website and see the legislation that they passed. But my friends, this is another way of stopping revenues from coming in to the Caribbean nation islands. Yes, the Caribbean, a lot of these islands have visa-free access. The islands that I mentioned, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada, Dominica, and St. Lucia. But these islands were colonized by the same British and European Union and used for hundreds of years to make money. So now these islands figured out a smart way to make money with what they have. The EU is stepping in and saying, look, we don't like this. We need to control this, and we can stop your money at any time. Remember, the EU owes the Caribbean nation islands reparations. Reparations has not been paid as yet. After independence, after hundreds of years of slavery in the Caribbean and colonization, the EU left the Caribbean after they already made their money. They left the Caribbean with nothing, no development, no plan, nothing. So now these islands are developing themselves with what they have. So since the EU cannot pay reparations, why stop these islands from making money? Why why not let the Caribbean islands continue their programming or whatever they're doing to make money in order to compensate for the hundreds of years of colonialism, stealing, brutal, inhumane treatment. No money was paid to the ancestors, the children of the ancestors here in the Caribbean. I am here in the Caribbean right now. So I know for sure that nothing was done. We don't even see anything happening. No grants, nothing coming from the EU. Taiwan, the Caribbean, Taiwan and China, the Caribbean islands get more help from Taiwan and China, way more than the EU, my friends. But let me know what you think about this topic. If you're watching for the first time, please consider subscribing to the channel. Like the video, share it with all your friends and family, and most importantly, comment your thoughts and opinion and let me know what you think about this topic. The mission of this channel is to bridge the gap between the African continent and the African diaspora. This is what I have been saying for a long time. We must develop closer relations with the African continent and the African diaspora. Now more than ever, you see what's happening in the world. Can no longer depend on the US, Canada, and the European Union or Britain. They are saving themselves, my friends. There's a trade war happening. There's visa access being revoked. Lots of things are happening throughout the world now, my friends, and now is the time for us to take decisive action in bridging the gap between the African continent and the African diaspora. To support the journey, you can become a member of my channel. The link is in the description box. You can click the link and sign up to become a channel member, and your small donation monthly will go a long way in keeping the channel running and helping to bridge that gap between the African continent and the African diaspora. The African diaspora includes African Americans. I have a lot of African American subscribers, so I say thank you to my dear African Americans for continuing to support this channel. I notice you and you're there in large numbers. Much love. A lot of Jamaican subscribers, a lot of Bayesian subscribers, a lot of Trinidad and Tobago subscribers. I appreciate your love and support as well. Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis. You have Guyana. And then you have Guadeloupe, Aruba, St. Martin, Anguilla, Montserrat, Belize, Cuba, Haiti. My friends, the African diaspora is large. And then you have the African continent, which includes South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, Zimbabwe, but Namibia, Rwanda, Burundi, DR Congo, and the list goes on and on and on. 54 massive African countries, my friends. My name is Beyond. This is Beyond Uncut, and I'm bringing you this message from the beautiful Caribbean nation islands with love, my friends. Thank you for watching this video. I post video every day. Breaking news. I react to breaking news that affect our people on the African continent and in the African diaspora, because we are one people separated by a brutal European transatlantic slave trade and colonialism. But those days are over, my friends, and we're bridging the gap between the African continent and the African diaspora. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what you think about this topic. Please comment your thoughts and opinion, and let's have a wonderful interactive conversation, my friends. Thank you for watching again, and I'll see you again tomorrow. in the next video. Bye-bye.